Hey everyone, welcome back. Psychedelic here. Grandpa Psych is out of the house at the moment. He'll be returning later to give me some treats. If you know what I'm saying. Um, yeah, hope I didn't scare anybody off with that video, but hope I didn't frighten the little children that watch my videos, as if they do anyways. This is adult content on this channel. But with that said, hope you guys enjoyed it. Took a little effort from him, but after my date, I helped him pack all the gear up and all of his Halloween, fog machines, and we didn't plan on using that, but you know, it would have been too much get up, and I thought he was kind of overdoing it. So, um, yeah, it's out there. So, since I last been on here, I have some things I haven't shared yet from the antique mall that I went to like 2 weeks ago now, 2 weeks or so. That day I showed that strawberry alarm clock, which is still up for sale on my Discogs. But I also got two other items I haven't shared yet. One I got from Goodwill that day, and the other is from the antique mall. And I'll talk about them briefly. I'm not going to keep you here too long, I don't think. But otherwise, I got the two items in the mail that I received. Finally got the one yesterday. I get my mail pretty late in the evenings, which I'm not really a big fan of, because then I end up posting them late, and I like to post them, pretty early in the day when I get them. But, yeah, what can you do? So, yeah, before I even get to sharing these records, I did get an email a while back, in late August, from a viewer. He doesn't have a YouTube channel, but he emailed me. His name's Keith, and so hopefully he catches this video. Yeah, he was asking me questions about, private press and psych. He's very much into that sort of thing. I think he said he's from South Texas, and yeah, he mentioned some names. I recognized all the names once I researched them. Or at least recognized the covers to most of them. Helen and Mark is the one I'm most familiar with, and that one is some straight up fantastic female male folk duo, folk psych. Some of the finest. I don't think I'll ever receive a copy of that. I'm not sure if there's a reissue out either. I don't think there is. But the other ones, like the Mark Tucker, I recognized the cover with the mail truck on it, and yeah, those are some odd ones. The only one I didn't recognize was the Damon from North Dakota. I only know the Damon of Song of a Gypsy theme, or Song of a Gypsy fame. So, yeah, private press is just an endless world, man. I mean, you can just be discovering things from, to this day we're still discovering stuff out in the wild. Even though we had discovered pretty much all of the greats, a lot of people have, they're still out there though, floating around. So, yeah, very, very generous of you, and I really appreciate the feedback that you gave me in that email. So, it is appreciated. I do have some viewers that don't have a YouTube channel. They emailed me, and that email that you sent me, man, I don't use that email too often. That's the email I put on my contest video like a year ago, over a year ago now. So that's the one that King Dick got ripped off on, Vinyl Richie. So I found this one in Goodwill first that day, a couple weeks ago. I picked this up, Cat. It's on RCA Victor. This is one of those albums I always see online, going for super cheap, under $10, and the cover does look promising, with this whole fisheye lens type of photos going on with the cat's eye. Looks promising, looks like a hard rock band. Kind of reminds me of looking at these guys kind of reminds me of the other band on RCA Victor, Fat, which I don't have that album yet, but kind of more like a blues rock kind of thing. They give off like a very hard rock, heavy blues rock kind of vibe, just looking at the whole presentation. But unfortunately, the reputation behind this album is definitely true. Um, but the fact I never gave this a listen up until now, for $1, I figured why not? Let's check it out. And yeah, according to the reviews, they were right. This is very generic, bland pop rock from 1970, and you can tell these guys kind of wanted to hit the mainstream a little bit, and just does not represent the sleeve at all. The sleeve's the best thing about it, and there was maybe one or two tracks worth mentioning. The one I remember is "I'm Gonna Hijack a Plane to Cuba," of all titles, was the one that stood out to me. Otherwise, a lot of songs just have no flavor to them. I found, there's just no flavor going on, no distinctful sounds. It's just very straightforward, run of the mill, dumbed down U.S. rock. About the best way to describe it. So glad I listened to it, because sometimes reviewers are, you know, pretty harsh on some stuff. So this next one though was a pretty cool find, and this band I just never took a chance on because I felt I'm not really much of a progressive rock guy, but there is some progressive rock I do like. Um, you know, I have a real appreciation for these kind of bands, but they're just not really what I'm into. But I found this one, Vandergraaf Generator's album H to He, Who Am the Only One, which I looked up and it stands for fusion, the scientific method term behind it. And this is on the fantastic, what's it called? The famous Charisma label. I think this is like a second pressing, second or third. I think the original was on the pink Charisma label. I do love this gatefold cover. That is an awesome gatefold, like in the Milky Way. So, yeah, I only gave this a listen once, but I will say, I was more impressed than let down by this band. I know it has a good fan base with what's his name, Peter Hamill, or is that his name? I forget now. It's probably on the back here. Hamill. Yeah, Peter Hamill. So I do know it's got its fan base, a lot like Yes fans and Genesis. And those bands, I just cannot get too heavily into. I do like some of Genesis's work. Trespass is a good album. And their debut, it's got some good moments. Otherwise, I can't really get past Foxtrot era and Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. It just gets too complex, and I like things a little dumbed down, I guess. But but this was a fantastic listen. Otherwise, for the first listen, I was like, I could give this another listen. However, I found this for like $5 or $6 at that antique mall. But I do have this up for sale, so I am selling this one, even though, it's just not something I'm going to listen to, I don't think, all the time. However, it is a very good album, from what I've heard. These next two I'm most stoked about, because they're pretty much straightforward psych releases, and this is one I actually, last year, if you guys remember, I bought this listing on eBay, or I think I won it on the bid or something, and I never received this album. I did get my money back like a month later, I think. I don't know whatever happened to the seller, but he just never returned payment right away, or didn't send us off. Maybe it sold somewhere else. I don't know. But I picked up Silver Apple's Contact last year, and now I finally got it again this year. And this is definitely my favorite of their two released albums on Cap. And definitely the one that ended their career. What a hell of a way to promote Pan Am. You got some substances up in the cockpit area, and then there's the result. It's just, what a way of marketing, right? So yeah, this one is definitely my favorite because it's just so much more zany experimentation going on. The production's a little more crisp, I would say. And the way they use the electronics with the hooked drum rhythms are very intriguing for its time. My favorite tracks are probably on side 2, A Pox on You, It's got this really eerie, haunting whirring of electronics moving through it, and then Fantasies, the closing track with the spoken word, and then Gypsy Love is just manic, crazy stuff for its time. Um, so I would like to have their archival release, the Garden, which came out 1998 I think, but they've reissued it several times, so I'm gonna have to pick that up down the road because it's also very good. So yeah, they kind of went out in hiding after this record, and makes sense. Yeah, I've been kind of hunting this down for a while, and we lost Simeon this year too. So this album's probably even reaching up in more value. Um, yeah, not much else to say about Silver Apples. I mean, it's just like probably the first techno group, right? Probably not. I mean, there's definitely some more experimental bands of their type, but as far as like coming from the U.S., not a whole lot. I mean, there's just a handful of bands doing that kind of thing, way ahead of their time. And then I finally got this in the mail yesterday. This is also one that I've, tried hunting down years and years, on Discogs, and you just never find it under $20. And then I finally did on eBay recently, and this is not the most recent reissue on Sunbeam, but this is like the 2008 or 2006 reissue of The Open Mind on Sunbeam. This one features. This one actually doesn't feature the bonus tracks that are listed on the back. Magic Potion and Cast a Spell, which is, a lot of people will agree it's their best standout tracks. Because of a nice gatefold, talking the history about the band. Some nice photographs. And I love this cover image too, crawling out of the mind. Very much top tier UK psych rock. Very much in that, the category I called freak beat transitioning into Technicolor sounds, coming out of the freak beat scene, and they still have those, kind of driving rhythms that bands like The Who, The Creation, The Attack had, during the mid-late 60s. And then this just goes full-on acid rock, at the end of the era, so yeah, and the only thing about this album too that gets a lot of hype or a lot of discussion is that a lot of the songs do sound very similar. They got the same harmonies going for them, and definitely working off the formula that basically, comes together to become Magic Potion. But the fact is, apparently, I didn't even know this till reading it. Magic Potion was actually released after the album was released, so they had all these ideas, and they just had, kind of limited talent, but, still a very nice hard rock delivery sound for its time, and, they just didn't have a lot of imagination, perhaps. It's just very simplistic sounds, which is never always a bad thing, especially in this case, the fact that I love these kind of sounds, but for some people I can see that, the magic can wear off after numerous listens, I suppose, So that's just one thing about this album that, gets kind of poo-pooed on. And, so yeah, and the sound quality of this is fantastic. I'm very pleased with the Sunbeam label. I have a few Sunbeam, or I used to, I should say. I used to have the Oriental Sunshine on Sunbeam. And I also got Czar, C-Z-A-R, that album on Sunbeam, which is right there. So, yeah, that about does it. So, hope you guys enjoyed this, and excuse me. That is all I have. So, I got a couple things coming in the mail. One I'm very stoked about because it's a Renee record that I found on eBay, and I got it on the bid, which never happens with this 45. So till then, take care, and hopefully Grandpa won't come back for a while, maybe till next year. We'll see what happens. he's got his own retirement plan going for him, and got a lot of things on his bucket list to get finished yet. So take care, and we shall see you soon.